Hello, sippers. I'm Martia.
I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Renee.
And welcome to today's episode of Sip and Unwine True Crime Podcast.
Woo!
Hey, ladies.
Y'all. We're back.
Hey, sippers.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be back with y'all today.
Yes.
So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How about y'all?
I'm doing good. I've been drinking a little bit, so I feel a little better right now. I started drinking early.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about what we're drinking today, ladies. And I'll just start with myself. I'm sipping on Douglas Hill wine. It's a California sweet red wine. And I've mentioned it before. It's definitely becoming a favorite of mine. What are you ladies sipping on today?
I'll go next. I'm drinking a little bit of red wine spritzer.
Ooh,
the spritzer. Okay.
It sounds fancy.
It's a little bubbly. Got a little fizz at the top.
Got the little bubbly.
Yeah. She got that pinky up today. That sounds fancy.
The pinky.
But I'm drinking some just Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And it's been, I'm on like glass number 2.5, so I'm ready.
Yeah, you beyond ready.
Well, y'all definitely need to buckle up and get ready for this ride of a case that we're going to be talking about today. Ooh. Are y'all ready or not?
Yes.
I think so. I think so.
And before I start, just a quick question. This is just a yes or no. Did you all have a chance to look at the case or no?
No.
I'm going to say no because I really wanted to be shocked.
Okay. Okay. So today's case that we're going to discuss is the case of Sherra Wright Robinson. The victim in this case is Lorenzen Wright. So for this particular case, Sherra Wright Robinson's name is like a tongue twister for me. So instead of addressing her last name or whatever, I'm going to address everybody by their first name in this case. So,
okay.
Lorenzen Wright was born November 4th, 1975, and he was raised in Oxford, Mississippi. He was an American professional basketball player who played 13 seasons in the NBA. During his high school years, he excelled in basketball, and during his junior year, he was named High School Player of the Year. Right before his last year of high school, his family moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where he spent his senior year playing basketball for Booker T. Washington High School. During that season, he led his team to the Tennessee State quarterfinals. Lorenzen met Sherra Wright Robinson while he was still in high school, not too long before his family relocated to Memphis. Sherra's father was Lorenzen's AAU basketball coach, and she was 21 when they first started dating. Yes, ladies, she was 6 years older than him.
Oh, that's rocking the... What you call that? Robbing the cradle? Or
that ain't robbing no cradle. Nope.
Girl,
listen.
I don't know.
Exactly. With him being still in high school, I would have to admit, if that was my son, I would have a problem with that.
I would too.
18? What was it?
Well, it just the source just said they met while he was still in high school.
Baby, he high school. That's jailbait material.
Like, go find somebody else your age.
Yeah, that's jailbait material, girl. I can't go down for that.
Look, I'm straight blocking that with karate chops if that was my son.
Yes.
Anyway, so yes, she was 6 years older than him, and I don't know. I'm still stuck on that. So that bothers me. But anyway, I guess when you are a hot basketball player, people are gonna come at you from all angles, young, old, your same age, whatever. So Lorenzen would go on to graduate from high school in 1994 and play basketball on the collegiate level at the University of Memphis. Standing at 6'11" and 225 pounds, Lorenzen played the center position, and he was one of the most talented players on his team. This led him to become a 7th-round pick in the 1996 NBA draft. It was at that time that he began his career with the LA Clippers. During Lorenzen's professional career, he would also play for the Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, the Sacramento Kings, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. In 2009, at 34 years old, Lorenzen Wright retired from basketball. In April 1995, which is almost a year after Lorenzen graduated high school, the couple had their first child, and they named him Lorenzen Jr. A couple years later, in 1997, the couple got married. During their marriage, they had 2 daughters, a set of twin boys, another son, and another daughter who sadly passed away from SIDS in 2003, just 13 days shy of her first birthday. Isn't that sad?
Wow, that's heartbreaking.
It is. So in total, they ended up having 7 children. Well, by 2010, the couple ended up getting divorced after 13 years of marriage. Not only did Sherra accuse Lorenzen of cheating, but by this time, Lorenzen was also living paycheck to paycheck. Just to put things into perspective, it is documented Lorenzen had made over $55 million during his time in the league. After the divorce was final, Lorenzen struggled to pay his ex-wife the $26,000 he owed in child support and alimony. His million-dollar homes in Atlanta and Memphis went into foreclosure. In order to make ends meet, Lorenzen considered reviving his basketball career overseas, but he never got the chance to do so. On July 18, 2010, Lorenzen went to Memphis to attend his sister's baby shower. He spent the day hanging out with friends, and at some point during the day, his ex-wife called and asked Lorenzen to pick up his son from a local gym. Lorenzen made several stops after picking up his son, including a visit to see his mother. But around 9 p.m., his ex Sherra called and demanded she bring their son home. Around 10 p.m., Lorenzen's friend dropped him and his son off at his ex-wife's home. That would be the last time anyone would see Lorenzen alive.
Oh my God.
Shortly after midnight on July 19th, it was reported that a 911 call had been received from Lorenzen's cell phone. During the call, the 911 operator could hear an unidentified man yelling, and then gunshots rang out. The dispatcher did not know who the caller was, and she was unable to determine the caller's location. When the dispatcher attempted to call back, she received no answer. Since the location of the call could not be determined, and Germantown police said the call was out of their jurisdiction, the Germantown dispatcher did not report the call to her supervisor.
See, that's the problem.
Right. So,
I'm sorry. That's the problem. I'm so sick of out of my jurisdiction, and we can't receive that. It's a 911.
Exactly. And so, of course, this hindered the police investigation. And I'm with you on this. Like, how do you just say, I'm not going to report it at all?
Yeah, you report it to the next jurisdiction.
Came through, you say came through, and then they can start an investigation sooner than later.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, that was July 19th, shortly after midnight. So on July 22nd, that's pretty much 2 days later, Lorenzen's mother filed a missing persons report after her attempts to call and text him went unanswered. Lorenzen's father said he believed Lorenzen had gone to Europe for a vacation, but there was no evidence to point to that. When Lorenzen's ex-wife was questioned, she said that Wright had left her home in Conyersville, Tennessee, with drugs and an unspecified amount of money. She said she overheard him on the phone talking to an unidentified person saying he was going to, quote, flip something for $110,000.
Oh.
She said right. She said she fell asleep, but when she woke up, he was gone, but that his car was still in her driveway. Sherra pleaded to the public for information to help find Lorenzen. In the beginning, no one suspected foul play. However, Lorenzen's mother became suspicious of Sherra from the beginning.
You go, mama. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Mama don't play. That instinct is you can't debate that.
Okay. I think it's just a gift. It's just a gift.
During the investigation, Memphis police revisited the Germantown 911 call, and they were able to track the location of the call's origin. I'm sorry, I got to pause on that.
Yeah.
Because if they had sent that call over to Memphis earlier, they could have tracked it. This is so sad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because it's out of your jurisdiction. You don't send it over. You don't send it to the next jurisdicted county or area or 911 operators.
Terrible, man.
2 days later, though. Okay.
So, yeah, they were able to track the location of the call's origin. With the help of cadaver dogs, unfortunately, Lorenzen's body was found on July 28th in a wooded area, which was a route that he would frequently use to get to his mother's house.
Oh, man.
The 911 call came in on July 19th. His mother reported him missing on July 22nd. But it wasn't until July 28th that they found his body. That's terrible.
Wow.
All that was left of Lorenzen Wright's body was a bullet-riddled, decomposed corpse. His decayed remains had shriveled down to just 57 pounds. Only brittle bones and mummified skin remained. Lorenzen had been shot 5 times, and it was determined that 2 different guns were used. He also suffered from head trauma amongst other injuries. At this point, the case went from a missing persons case to that of a homicide investigation. Multiple rewards were put up from several sources to pay out if anyone could help solve the crime. A funeral was held for Lorenzen on August 4, 2010. Thousands attended his service, including old coaches, teammates, his family, including his ex-wife and their children. There's actually video footage that shows Sherra crying and consoling her children as they stood over their father's casket. In late 2010, Sherra decided to move out of her Memphis home. As police continued to investigate, they discovered a connection between Lorenzen and a drag racer that was known for his connection to a Mexican kingpin drug lord. Lorenzen's name had surfaced in a federal investigation back in 2008, in which it was thought that Lorenzen could have been killed because of retaliation. However, the police were not able to come up with concrete evidence to tie those previous cases to his murder. Police also found out from Sherra's old neighbors that Sherra had a bonfire in her backyard a few days after Lorenzen went missing. The neighbors said she was accompanied by an unidentified black man, and they felt it was unusual for her to have had a bonfire since the temperature was in the 90s during that summer day.
I'm saying something's not right with that when you have a bonfire when it's like in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
Like, no, we ain't trying to heat up. No,
exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. So even though that was strange activity, it was not enough evidence to tie Sherra back to Lorenzen's murder. Side note here, months before Lorenzen's death, he had purchased a $1 million life insurance policy intended to benefit his children. After his death, the insurance money was allocated to Sherra since she had custody of the kids. Listen to this though. Within 10 months of getting the money, reports showed that Sherra spent all of the money down to $5. And it was said, can you believe that?
Yeah.
Wait, so how, oh wow. How did she get, like, what? I thought they had to been written out as a clause, like who gets the money. That's just weird.
Since it was intended to benefit his children and none of the kids were grown at the time of his death, I mean, I guess they have to give it to the guardian, which is their mother. I'm stuck on the fact that she spent that money down to $5. And then it said the money, most of it was loosely connected to spending for the kids. She purchased a new home. She purchased several luxury cars. She purchased expensive furniture and several vacations. She also made many withdrawals and wrote checks to herself totaling over $300,000.
So you just party like a rock star.
Right. It sounds like it. I mean, good grief. Well, in 2014, Sherra agreed to a confidential settlement of a dispute in circuit court over how she spent the $1 million life insurance money that was meant to benefit their children. And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, sippers.
Yes.
I believe it was the mother who brought on the lawsuit against her once she found out how her ex-daughter-in-law was spending the money. I believe it was her that took her to court about it. So anyway, during the 7 years after Lorenzen Wright's unsolved murder, Sherra relocated to California and she also remarried. Come to find out, her ex-husband was a Shelby County deputy for a short period of time. Now, Shelby County is where the crime occurred. He was on the staff during the time of the murder investigation, but he was found to have had nothing to do with the crime. Sherra also authored a book titled Mr. Tell Me Anything, which was released in 2005. The book was about a woman scorned who was married to an NBA player. Ooh, child. That book is giving me O.J. Simpson vibes.
I mean, is it still for sale? I wonder if it's still on the...
It is on Amazon.
Is it? Yes. Let me write that title down one more time. I'm sorry, sippers. I just needed
Mr. Tell Me Anything. And if you go look at the book and read the comments, it's people that say, don't buy the book. Don't support her. I read it. I'll tell you about it. The comments on there are pretty funny. But they're like, no, we're not going to support this chick. I think that the book sales, in my opinion, should go to his children, but I don't know what happens when you buy that book though. But yeah, definitely giving me O.J. Simpson vibes. The fact that she wrote a book. Whew.
I mean, you have time to write a book,
right? Them 7 years. I mean, I don't know how else she was making money, and to me, $1 million is not a lot of money. But I'm not sure if her husband's had money or whatever. But she definitely didn't miss a beat during them 7 years. Is what my point is.
Wow.
So anyway, on November 9th, 2017. One of the guns believed to have been used in the murder was found in a Walnut, Mississippi lake. The location of that lake was only a 40-minute drive from Sherra's former home in Collierville. So what ended up busting this case wide open is Sherra's cousin, Jimmy Martin, who was in jail for an unrelated murder conviction. He confessed to being involved in the murder plot to kill Lorenzen Wright.
Oh, wow.
So, when people start confessing when they're already in jail, my guess is that he was probably trying to reduce his time, get out early.
Yeah.
Let me
right.
help
Or
y'all out on this other case.
or he like, nah, I'm in here. She need to be in here too.
Exactly, right. So, because of course, he said the plan was concocted by Sherra, and initially she paid him and 48-year-old Billy Turner an undisclosed amount to kill Lorenzen at his Atlanta home. When that plan failed, because Lorenzen wasn't home at the time they were supposed to commit the crime, Sherra came up with the plan to kill him in Tennessee. What's crazy though is that they broke into Lorenzen's Atlanta home to kill him, but he never came home that night. But think about how close he was to being killed earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just gave me an eerie feeling. Like, whatever he did that night saved him at that time, but unfortunately it didn't save him, what eventually happened. But people who commit these type of crimes against someone they had kids with, it just throws me off. But anyway, Jimmy eventually denied involvement in the actual murder, but he did admit to removing evidence from the crime scene and getting rid of one of the guns. So with his confession in November, that led them to arresting Billy Turner on December 5th, 2017. Now, Billy was a Shelby County landscaper and a church deacon at Mount Olive Number 1 Missionary Baptist Church
Of course.
in Collierville.
Gotta be the deacon, I'm telling
Right.
you.
But that church name, okay, Mount Olive Number 1 Missionary Baptist Church. So he was indicted on first-degree murder charges, and he was held on a $1 million bond. He pleaded not guilty. Then, a few days later, on December 15, 2017, Sherra was also arrested in California, and she was charged with first-degree murder, criminal attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. She also pleaded not guilty. Then, out of fear that Billy would testify against her, Sherra copped a plea deal and ended up pleading guilty to a lesser charge, which was the facilitation of first-degree murder. So, instead of her getting a possible life sentence, prosecutors agreed to a sentence of 30 years with parole eligibility. When people started talking about Sherra being guilty and they knew all along that she had something to do with it, she eventually would say later that she took the plea deal and pleaded guilty for her children. So she still was maintaining her innocence, but she knew that, if I plead guilty, I may get out sooner, so I can still be around for my kids. That's the story she tried to put out there.
First of all, you should have thought about your kids in the first place if you really want to get all technical about for my kids.
Right, exactly. Yes. Lorenzen's mother, which her name is Deborah Marion, by the way, as I stated earlier, she always believed her former daughter-in-law was involved in the murder, and she thought the lady was motivated by money. Records did show. Oh, you had a question?
Oh no, I was just saying that's what it sounds like. Mama be knowing.
Yeah, Deborah was not playing. She had been singing that song all along, like she's the one who did it. So records do show that on August 1st, 2010, Memphis police did search Sherra's home, and they found burned pieces of metal and a letter addressed to herself and Lorenzen Wright Jr., but law enforcement at that time did not say what the items meant to the investigators. They just never had anything concrete at that time to tie her to the case. On July 25th of that year, Sherra was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Oh.
Yeah, 30 years. I mean, I feel like she should have got more, but like I stated, she did a plea deal for a lesser time or whatever. And she is required to serve a minimum of 30% of her sentence before being eligible for parole. So basically, she has to serve 9 years, which is nothing. And she got credit for all the time she served in the local jail pending her trial, and that reduced her time to around having to serve 7 years. She could be eligible for release sooner than later with good behavior, but recent records show that she had a discipline problem in jail. So keep acting up, girl, so you don't get out no time soon.
And it just amazes me how they get to negotiate a time. Like,
right, exactly.
Even if you are plotting the whole crime scene, or if you actually acted out in it, you don't get to. Why do you get to negotiate? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna plead.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She needed life.
So today, Sherra is 50 years old and she is still behind bars. She's being held at the Tennessee prison for women, where she'll stay until at least 2026. A trial date was set for her co-defendant, Billy Ray Turner. I gotta say his whole name, Billy Ray Turner, on June 4th, 2021, and his trial is set to begin in January of 2022. Billy's trial was delayed due to the pandemic, and then Jimmy, remember Sherra's cousin who snitched, but he snitched in a good way though.
In a good way.
Yeah. He was never charged in connection with the murder at all. But what I was wondering about Jimmy is whatever charge he was in jail for a couple years back, I wonder if he ever got out. I'm not sure about that though. But he got away with murder in my opinion, because even though he said he didn't commit the actual murder, he was there to try to, do the other murder that she planned. So anyway, to date, Lorenzen Wright's death remains one of the most high profile murder cases Memphis has seen since the slaying of Dr. Martin Luther King back in 1968.
Oh, wow, that's deep.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there were so many people that were just hurt and just broken down by this whole case. And then to find out that she just tried to drag his name through the dirt. Nobody's perfect, but she set it up acting like he was getting ready to leave up out of here and go sell drugs. And that man was not doing any of that.
And then you live like a rock star after his death.
Exactly. Moved right on over to California and, spent that money. Yeah, just sad. And I'm always concerned about the kids. So in this case, I did try to see what I can find out about their children. For the 6 surviving kids, I couldn't find information about all of them, of course, because, the internet is real protective about the children that are involved in some of these high profile cases. But the twin boys they had, they're actually in college playing collegiate basketball right now.
Okay.
I thought so too. And Lorenzen Jr., I think he's in his late 20s now, and he also played basketball on a collegiate level. I can't remember what his occupation is at this time, but he's doing okay. Basically, all 6 children though, they believe their mother is innocent. And
good and goddamn well.
yeah.
That's so. Oh no.
Yeah, that was one thing that the article definitely said. It didn't have a lot of information and details because some of the kids are on social media and whatnot, but it definitely said that all 6 children believe their mother is innocent. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, they probably didn't do their independent, like they kind of went off of maybe what she was saying to them.
Right.
They didn't go into the details, the official details of what really happened.
Right.
It was long, but wow.
And I think too, even with the research that I've done on this case, I mean, there's so many different people, shows and things that have covered this case, but from what I was able to find, it really isn't anything out there that says that like they found a fingernail of hers at the crime scene or that she was on, video. I think it's all based on circumstantial evidence. And so if the kids are kind of looking at it from that perspective, I can see how they would want to believe their mother's innocent. But I do wonder, what do they think happened to their dad? Like, what do they think the story is?
Yeah, she didn't have anything like really.
Like why would they think this deacon would want their dad murdered? If they agree with that part but have eliminated their mom out of the picture, I wonder what they actually think happened. So but no one wants to look at their parent as being a murderer. I get that part.
That's true.
But anyway, y'all, this one just was like so heartbreaking because I think any of these cases are heartbreaking. All of them are. But when you have 7 children, for one, nobody wants to voluntarily raise kids alone. And so you purposely took what seemed like a good father out of your children's life for $1 million that you ran through in less than a year. That is just sad. And then to turn around and only get 30 years or less behind bars, despicable. That's the only word I can think of.
You still have to do work after that. Like, it's not like you can set up, your lifestyle for the rest of your life off of $1 million. Like, it's that's just insane.
And she's eligible for parole coming up soon.
Exactly.
But she's acting up a little bit and stay in there, sister. Stay in there. You keep cutting up. Cutting up.
But I'm glad that the kids seem to be thriving, for the most part. I
guess,
of course when you lose people in your life, it's something that you pretty much never get over. But it does seem like, aside from the fact that she is accused and has been convicted, for having something to do with the dad's murder, it sounds like she was a good mother to them. Not only the kids, they just don't believe she did it, but they also said she gave them a good life. So, but anyway, okay, ladies, it's time to close the book on the Sherra Wright Robinson case. My goodness.
Yep.
All right. and don't get out.
Right. Exactly. All right, ladies. So if you are ready, we are going to keep on moving on into our next segment of the day. Are y'all ladies ready?
We are.
Ready.
All right. So today we have a Spill the Wine. And our Spill the Wine segment is where you, our sippers, send us an email or DM asking our opinion about a situation you need some advice on. The three of us will give our separate viewpoints and share our opinions about how you should resolve your issue. All Spill the Wine submissions are anonymous and we will never share your identity. So with that being said, ladies, what is our Spill the Wine for today?
It's
All
just
right.
Renee, and I have to spill the wine. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
All right,
All right. Okay, so I checked our Gmail account and we have an interesting one that I think that you two ladies will be able to not relate to, but you can, what your viewpoint is on this may be interesting. I will say that. Okay, so they titled it with the subject line, I think my best friend has a crush on my husband.
Oh,
Is it just in my head? And then it had details are inside. Okay, so here it goes. My friend goes through one scumbag boyfriend after another. She has horrible luck with guys. The last few months, she hasn't dated anyone, which is odd for her. She hates being alone. My husband is a wonderful man. You couldn't ask for anyone better. She knows how happy he makes me and how awesome he is. I think maybe she developed feelings for him after all the crap that she's dated, all the crap people, I guess she said, that she's dated. I can see why she'd fall for someone she knows is a nice guy. I don't think she would ever try to quote unquote take him or anything like that. It's just a little unsettling. Lately, when she wants to come over, she's been asking me if my husband is working, what time does he get off, stuff like that. And she only ends up coming over if he's here or is going to be here soon. Oh, wow. That's a new thing. She's never cared before if he was here or not. She also seems to be trying to get him alone. I admit this could be just in my head messing with me. Trying to get him alone, asking me to go out and get random stuff or asking him to drive her somewhere when normally she'd ask me. She also has been dressing up when she comes over. I'm used to seeing her in sweats and a t-shirt, but the last few months, every time she comes over, she's dressed like she's going on a hot date. You guys think this could be just in my head, or is it something I should worry about? Sorry for any typos or grammar mistakes. I've been drinking. And then at the end, P.S. Oh, and about a year ago, we all were drunk and had a threesome.
Well, yeah, that's why she coming
so what
over
do you
there.
guys?
She knew what he was laying the pipe on, you know. Oh, excuse me. Can I say that?
I think you can.
Okay, well, she knew what he was working with, so that's why she keep coming over there.
Child, they're probably seeing each other behind her back. The whole
You think
threesome.
they already are seeing each other?
Oh yeah, I think so. Since she ended with the whole threesome thing, she could have started with that, and I would have already had my conclusion drawn.
Right. That's why she put that at the end, like, oh, and P.S. Oh yeah, and let me tell you this.
Talking about is it all in her head? No, it's not. You introduced her to your husband in the whole threesome manner, and they're probably still seeing each other behind her back. And when he knows she's coming over, he probably, oh, wear something cute. Wear that little short skirt that you have or whatever, you know. Ooh, child. Yeah.
I just don't know how you can have a threesome with your friend that still be over your house and, you know, and your best friend at that.
Exactly.
Like, right. Because that person's always going to be around. Like, you know.
First of all, we're not going to be best friends.
Exactly.
If we're going to go to that threesome, we're not going to be best friends. I'm going to find somebody that I can casually speak to, and all right, see you, girl.
And you know,
not even that. I want to see you after that.
You're not going to keep trying to come to my home
exactly
every other day, every day. But like, why are you here?
And you only got one time to ask me about my man. You know, I think I think anyone who knows me
what his schedule is
knows I have no problem telling somebody, don't ask me about my husband. You know, because, and I have said that out of my mouth on plenty of times, because if I invited, don't ask me about my husband.
I'm saying people asking as if
I'm not talking about my friends. I'm not talking about you or Demetrius. I'm not talking about y'all. But if we're planning something and this girl is always asking me about my man, no, ma'am, you're not gonna keep asking me about my husband.
Can you say the scenario in which you said, don't ask me about my man or my husband or Or can you not?
I knew this was coming.
Well, no, I'm saying if you can't, then you don't have to.
So I can give an example of it. I can give several, but one I said an old coworker. You know, just I noticed that she was inquiring, just like, oh, well, where's a picture of your husband? And okay, I don't have a picture of my husband at my desk, but I didn't have pictures of anyone at my desk at that time. Then it would be like, oh, okay, we're at the mall on our lunch break. Oh, you bought something for your kids. What did you buy for your husband? You know, and I don't know what else, because it might have been those two things, because this has been years ago. This is one example. And I said, listen, don't ask me anything else about my husband. I don't know why you're asking me about him, or whether you think I don't talk about him enough or whatever, but it's just bothering me. Like, don't ask me about my husband, because you don't know him. Yeah. Y'all know my husband. That's why I say I'm not talking about y'all, because you guys know my husband. But this is a quote unquote associate, somebody who I used to work with, and we would hang out here and there, but you don't know him. So don't ask me anything about my husband. So.
Okay. No inquiries. Okay.
Right.
No inquiries. Don't.
Now, in her situation, that was her friend. But in my definition of friendship, there still are boundaries there. So when you're coming over to my house and it's just me and you getting ready to have wine and stuff like that, unless you're asking me about his whereabouts because you really just want to have me to yourself, maybe you want to talk about something that you don't want him to hear or whatever, that's okay. But every time you come see me and you asking me, is my husband going to be home? No, sis. You don't keep asking me about my husband. Well, not even
that. Not only ask if he's home, but you show up only when he's there. Like it's one thing, ask if he's there, and then you don't show up when you show up when he's not there because you don't want to interrupt that time or whatever. You like, okay, he's gonna be home. Okay, well, I'll come later. Just let me know. But you plan it so that you're there when he's there.
Wow. No. Yeah, that's crazy.
So once again, what was her question? Or
her question is it just in her head? She thinks her best friend has a crush on her husband. Is it just in her head?
I think it's an infatuation, and she has to go.
I think she's already tasted them. So
no, she got to go.
What else? You've already let her have your husband, basically. So
it's kind of like it's almost like it's her fault that any of this is even happening. So I don't want to blame the person that just sent in the spill the wine or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry that you did send that in, and we're talking bad about you like that, but but girl,
now where's the husband at though? She needs to start questioning him.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's play the factor of that. When she asks to come over here, I'm gonna need you to be gone.
I wonder if the husband ever asks her, when is she coming over? Or is she coming over today? And then,
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I'm gonna need for him to be gone when I have my friend over. When she come over, you go.
Yeah, like we're not hanging out afterwards.
No, we're not hanging out.
Time. Especially if she's asking about him. And then she comes up dressed like she's about to go on a date. With who? Her husband. That's what she's going out on a date with.
Exactly.
Or she could still meet the friend, just not at her home. Like, girl, you want me to meet you at the mall? You want me to meet you at Applebee's? You want to meet me at Chili's? You're not going to meet at my home anymore. No more home invites.
We're not even going to be friends anymore, because I think once you throw that, I don't even know from experience at all on that threesome stuff. I don't know anything about that through experience, but I'm just thinking in my head, I feel like that may mess things up afterwards.
Complicated situations. Yeah.
So maybe not for everybody, because it works for people, but
Martia says
she isn't working with them.
Martia says she doesn't know nothing about that, but Demetrius, when you have your threesomes with your husband, is that do you do that with your friends?
You know what? He ain't even gonna allow a threesome. I could probably beg him all day long, and he'll be like, "No,
nope."
Here's your threesome.
How does that work? That you bring your friend?
He'll probably give me 3 knots on the head or something if I ask for that. I'm gonna back out of that kindly.
and as I say too, don't ask me about my husband. I want the person who wrote that in to take note.
Like, tell that girl, don't ask me about him.
Yeah, set those boundaries with them folks. But anyway, Renee, you're so funny. Why'd you ask for an example of how I told somebody tonight?
Because it's so funny. Because it just sounds funny. Like you, like in the middle, like somebody's talking to you, like, don't ask me about my husband. And you'd be like, oh damn, okay.
No, not that bold and mean, and never with my friends, because y'all know him.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. But
that's an interesting spill the wine. I would love to get updates on these spill the wine.
You know what? Martia don't have to say that. It's the look. If you watch her, it's a look. She gonna cut.
So what's your answer to her? So Martia, you say
It's not in your head. That lady is probably still messing around with your husband after that, long after that
She's saying
threesome
there's still
happens.
something going on. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No more invites. No more invites. No more accepting any invites. Let her go, girl. Let her go.
Yeah. I would say, oh, you keep going. I'm sorry.
Now, if they're still talking after you let her go, then he's the problem.
Yeah.
Period.
I just think that she does not, like, that's your friend. You brought her in. That's your fault. But no more. She can't come over your house no more. Like, no. If you want to hang out with her, y'all hang outside the house. And then, so there'll be no reason for her to see your husband again. For what?
Exactly.
Since that's, like, that's your best friend. So, and you brought her into that situation. So, I mean, deal with that. So I wouldn't say drop her as a friend because, I mean, you did that. But we just saying, you're not coming to my house.
Right.
And I'm not going to be talking, I'm not telling no stories about what he's doing today or something, like I wouldn't discuss that anymore. Like, nah.
Well, sounds like she need to start checking call logs on her husband. Oh,
that might be her next step. I'm sure you have access, girl. If you don't, you have to, you might have to check just to see, just to make sure that her number doesn't come up on, in those, in those files. Hopefully we helped you.
I hope so.
I think we did, but yeah, it's not in your head. How about that? That helps. It's not in your head.
All right, sippers. If you would like to submit a Spill the Wine, you can DM us on any of our social media platforms, or you can email us at sipnunwine, no spaces, no dashes, @gmail.com. Okay, so at this time, we would like to highlight a missing persons case. Today, we are going to discuss the missing person case of a woman named Beverly Gail Johnson Sabo. And her last name is Johnson-Sabo, S-A-B-O. So I'm assuming it's pronounced Sabo. How would y'all pronounce that? S-A-B-O?
Yeah, Sabo.
Okay. So Beverly Gail Johnson Sabo went missing on February 5th, 1989. She's a 34-year-old pregnant mother of 2 at that time, and she was reported missing by her husband, Steve Sabo. Beverly was last seen in Ventura, California, and when she went missing, Steve made a call to Beverly's extended family in Northern California to let them know that she left him and the children and that she was gone. Now, Beverly and Steve were married on May 22nd, 1982 in Alameda, California, and the Sabo family moved to Southern California in 1988, a year before her disappearance. The reason behind the couple moving is because Steve was accused of molesting their 4-year-old niece. Beverly's family does not believe the story given to them by Steve and thinks that he might have been responsible for what happened to her. On February 5th, 1989, 6 weeks after her disappearance, Sabo's car was found abandoned at the Los Angeles International Airport. Although Sabo's husband told others that his wife had left the family, her loved ones didn't believe that she would have abandoned her 2 young children, whom she was very devoted to. So there are a few additional details available about her case, and all these years later, this case remains unsolved. So just a recap, Beverly Johnson Sabo has been missing since February 5th, 1989 from Ventura, California. She's an African-American female. She was born on September 18th, 1954. So today she would be around 66 years old, I think. She was 34 years old at the time of her disappearance. She has brown hair, brown eyes, and she has a birthmark on her forearm. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'7", 125 pounds, and she was also pregnant. She was last seen wearing a beige cotton jacket, a red sweater, beige slacks, and 2 gold wedding bands. If any of our listeners has any information on the disappearance or whereabouts of Beverly Gail Johnson Sabo, please contact the Ventura County Sheriff's Department at 805-654-2324. So ladies, that is our missing persons case for this episode. Pretty sad. I just hope that the family receives answers and
yes, please,
gets closure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's terrible. Of course, what kind of sticks out to me is the fact that they suspect the husband and what he was accused of doing. The reason why they moved. This is a shaky case here. And I couldn't find any updates as to where the husband is today or whether he was still alive or any of that. So it's very limited information, not only about her case, but also about the husband and what he's been up to since her disappearance.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is. Yeah. All right, ladies. So
Do either of you have anything else to add to our episode this week?
No,
I think
all of this was
yeah.
just, I am good.
Right.
This was a good segment. We did good on this one. I love it.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm,
I've
good.
enjoyed our discussion today. And
Yes.
sippers, this will conclude this week's episode of Sip and Unwind True Crime Podcast. Please make sure you share this episode with your friends and follow us on all of our social media platforms so that you can be the first to listen to our new episodes that post every Tuesday.
Ow.
Bye,
So do you-
sippers.
Bye.
Bye.